Welcome to the show. This is Market Movers. My name is Dan Koob. Anita Marks will be joining us very shortly. We're going to run through. There are seven arbitrage opportunities for you literally right now that involve sport trades. We want to get those out to you as soon as we possibly can. Welcome into Studio S. Again, joining me, as she always does, here is Anita Marks. I think we've solved an issue. We have Mark Goldberg, who chimes in almost every week to say, Anita's audio is not loud enough. Mark, I think I fixed it.
Should I talk louder?
I think you have to. I think you have to, Anita. Welcome to the show. Real quick, we're going to get these arbitrage opportunities out to you. They're all involving Major League Baseball, some in play, so we're going to get these done right away. Twins and Miami Marlins, top of the seventh. The total 7.5. The over on Sport Trade is plus 120. The under 7.5 is plus 100 on WinBet. That's a hold of almost negative 5%. So make sure you hop on that. Braves and Cardinals top six. That over 8.5 on Sport Trade is minus 120. Under 9 at Sugar House, if you're local to New Jersey, plus 100. So there's an opportunity there. Obviously, the lines don't match up because of the alternate line calculator. You can kind of figure that one out. Cincinnati Reds and the Chicago Cubs are actually postponed right now, so that one doesn't count. Rays and Nationals 3-2 in favor of the Rays. This one is on MGM and Sport Trade. The over 8.5 minus 105 at MGM, and the under 8.5 is plus 106 at Sport Trade. So that's a small one, but still an arbitrage opportunity nonetheless. On the spread, plus 1.5 for the Braves, who are up 5-0. It's minus 167 at Profit, and plus 170 on Sport Trade. So there you go. Couple arbitrage opportunities there. Obviously, if you're unfamiliar with arbitrage, you place two books against each other. We're happy that you do that on Sport Trade. Put them against each other. You have a guaranteed profit. One more between us and Superbook. Chicago White Sox up 2-0 on San Francisco. That in the top of the second. All these numbers, of course, courtesy of our friends at Undebated. The Giants to win plus 126 at Superbook, minus 122 on Sport Trade. Okay, with that, Anita, hello. How are you? Huge week. We have the Masters kicking off tomorrow. Big slate of MLB that we're going to live bet today as well. How are you?
I'm great. This is my favorite. I wouldn't say one of my, let's put them in the top 3 Masters week, right? And you know how much I love golf. I play it. I gamble on it. I watch it. And I love that the PGA Tour, very similar to NASCAR, they start off with a bang. They start off with their best tournament and their best major of the year as their number 1 major. So I'm excited. I'm ready to go. And here's the thing. I've done so much research. I've done such a deep dive. I just hope the weather doesn't screw with me, because now the weather has become such a hot topic. In fact, later on tonight, I'm going to be on Daily Wager on ESPN. And that's what we're leading the show with. We're leading the show with the weather at Augusta. So that's how big that topic has become.
Well, we do have a lot of Major League Baseball going on right now. We are going to round back to the Masters. But for right now, pull up some of the trades that I've been making throughout the day. I've got the Tampa Bay Rays minus 1.5. I got that at $47 per share. They were up 3-2 at that time. Now they're up 5-2. So that one's looking like money for me. The Twins just to win outright. We are going to talk about something we're unveiling to the world today, Anita, which is the Major League Baseball Index, something proprietary to us here at Sport Trade that our great reporting staff has been able to put together. I had the Twins to win outright. That's up $16, so really crushing it. The over 7.5 Braves and Cardinals. That game was 5-0. So it looked pretty good, but right now it looks like it hasn't really gained any traction. The Mets were down 4-1 in Milwaukee against the Brew Crew. Now 4-4 bottom third. So we've seen a $16 gain on that one. I know you're tracking a couple games as well.
There we go. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yes. So as you know, before we started the show, you were asking me what Major League Baseball games am I on today? And I was on the Yankees. I still am, middle of the sixth. They're up 1-0. Why? Garrett Cole was dominant against the Giants on opening day. And your Phillies, still no home cooking, dude. They've been on the road.
I know. I know.
I mean, who's taking care of their dogs? I don't know.
Their wives or girlfriends, perhaps.
Yeah, probably. Listen, here's the thing. When you're on the road, especially to start the season, right? I know that they've been down in spring training nonetheless, but to start the season on the road, I'm sure at this point in time, their bullpen is spent. I'm sure at this time, they're just like, we want to get home. We're ready for our opening day. So, do they wave the white flag today? Well, it's middle of the sixth, and it's still a winnable game for the Phillies. I just think when we get deep into their bullpen is so spent. They got roughed up by the Rangers on opening day. So I still like the Yankees. What are the Yankees trading right now to win outright?
To win outright, let's see. We had a little bit of volatility in that market specifically. So let's go back to the phone here and see if we can figure it out. It looks like we still have that. It looks like at last print, it was 76, so minus 323. It's currently 1-0 here, bottom six. I mean, this game has been flying by. You've got Garrett Cole against Aaron Nola, so maybe not that surprising. But right now, 1-0, runner on second, one out in the bottom of the sixth.
And also the Braves and the Cards, top of the sixth there. And the Braves are up 5-0. I like the over here, the over at 9 runs. This is a Cards team. They put up 14 runs their last 3 games. And this is a Braves team. They put up 13 runs their last 3 games. Both starting pitchers did not look great opening day either. So I like the over here at 9. Where's the over understanding right now on Sport Trade?
Let's take a look-see. Let's see. Braves, Cards. Let's go all the way down here. We have it at 9.5. That's at plus 240. So $29 per share for over 9.5. The over 8.5 is $41 plus 141. And like I said, I have the over 7.5, which now is at minus 130. So looking a little better.
And last but not least, the other play that I liked was the Brewers. As you said, the Mets just came back and tied it up. So it's 4-4, tied up, bottom of the third. Corbin Burns, to me, he looked great not great, but solid on opening day. Just to me, head and shoulders better pitcher than David Peterson. Last season, Peterson, his last game last season against Brewers, gave up 5 runs in a little over 4 innings. And this is a Mets team. Unfortunately, they're only averaging 3 runs per game. And they just got absolutely shelled by the Brewers the last 2 days, 19 runs to 0. So this is a Brewers team I think was looking for the sweep. So what are they trading out for a straight up win right now?
Let's go to that. So I'm actually on the Mets, who are at 46. So I'm assuming the inverse of that is right around 54. And to add to your point, the Mets are only hitting 200 as a team. So
exactly.
No bueno there.
Looks like nice way to spin that $300 million payroll, Dan.
I mean, the Phillies have a $250 million payroll, and they're 1-4. The Mets, Brewers. So the Mets are at 48, and Brewers are at 54 right now.
Yeah, so I'd buy the Brewers. I think the Brewers win this at the end of the day.
Opportunity. I mean, I may jump on. You know what? Let's make that a team play. I made $26.50 here on the Mets. They were down 4-1. Now they've tied it at 4. So I'm going to drop out of that, and we're going to sell that. $26 profit.
Milwaukee.
Let's do it.
Laverne and Shirley happy.
Let's do it. All right, we're going Brew Crew. Give me the Crew. $54 at home with Corbin Burns on the mound. At last check, I have to see if he's still on the mound. He may not be after giving up 4 runs. Something I do want to talk about, and we'll continue trading MLB games as the show goes on. So we are doing something really cool at Sport Trade. Now, at a sports book, right, it's really hard to track team performance unless somebody tweets out an animated graphic of things going this way, things going that way. And you're like, well, who's doing what? Who's doing well? So our reporting staff, our amazing reporting staff, are in the process of every single day putting together the Major League Baseball index. And that's going to track a bunch of different things. That's going to track daily ROI, weekly ROI, season ROI, and something I'm really excited about that we're going to call MLBI, which is if you were to put one share on every team every night, how much you would be up, right? So it is a tad different from ROI, but it also allows us to look at the volume on Sport Trade to see who the public is on and who the public is not paying attention to relative to their ROI, right? So we can see which teams are crushing it and no one's paying attention, which team has a ton of action and they're getting crushed. So that brings me to the teams that the public, Anita, seems to be bullish on, and I want to bring them up to you right now. So the Chicago Cubs actually have the most volume of any team in Major League Baseball in Sport Trade. Over 654 shares of the Cubs have been traded. They're just 21st in ROI. Now, I bring all of this to you because if you watched us last week, Anita told you outright she loves the Arizona Diamondbacks. So here we are. This show is all about telling you that Anita's always right. So the Diamondbacks are 8th in ROI, Anita, 22.71%, the 8th highest season-long ROI, and they're just 11th in volume. So some people listened to you, some people didn't listen to you. They're right there in the meaty middle, but 8th in ROI so far. How have you felt about your D-backs?
Solid. I mean, look, they're 3-3 on the season. They're sitting at 500. You know, I'm not reading too much into the start of the season. I mean, these teams really, it's a long baseball season. I'm not reading into, oh no, should I push the panic button on the Mets right now? Should I push the panic button on certain teams until at least we're a month and a half in, at least, right? Like until these guys get into like an ebb and flow, and also so many changes. The rule changes, Dan. These guys have to like the whole ebb and flow to a game, and the vibe has changed tremendously. So I think we need to give these guys like a good month and a half, maybe 2 months, until we really say, yeah, I was right, I was spot on with them, or oh no, it's a panic button, something's wrong here. So I just think these guys really have to feel the season out, probably more so than any other season because of all the rule changes.
Well, it's interesting, and I wanted to have a larger discussion about this, right? Presumably, there would be more action in the field, runs going on. Now, batting average is up to around 240 league-wide. You have some teams hitting much more than that. You have some teams hitting much lower than that, right? It's an average. Singles are up. Stolen bases are up. Interestingly, I did the math. So runs last year, teams averaged about 4.04 runs per game. So multiply that by 2, 8.08. Teams are averaging through the first 5 days, 6 days, 7 days of this Major League season an entire run more than that. So you have to ask yourself, okay, is that worth constantly betting into overs, though? So I had a conversation with our market makers, and maybe unsurprisingly, they're all watching this very closely, as I'm sure most odds makers are at other books as well. But they're already sort of baking this in. So if you're coming into this situation, this scenario, thinking, hey, I've done all this research, I think I have an edge here, odds are that's already being baked into the price, right? But there is so much more action on the bases right now that you'd have to believe that it will lead to more runs being created. So I personally have been betting a lot of overs, and I am up on the season so far. I'm going to continue to ride that and just sort of see how the new rules trend. You've had a lot of pitchers, Anita, say the clock is bothersome. It makes them uncomfortable. They're not into a rhythm. That's going to take some time. And to me, that leads to more runs.
Absolutely. A few things. Number one, as you said, I think the pitchers feel very rushed, right? Especially the ones who don't pitch quickly, the ones who sit there and they lollygaggle. And, athletes are creatures of habit, and they've developed this routine. It's very similar to golf, right? When I step onto a tee box, I have a routine. Thank God it's not a lengthy one, or I probably have dudes who would not want to play golf with me, right? But some pitchers have that and so they're going to have to get out of that routine, which is definitely going to throw them off. That's why I said, like, I want to give this season like a good month and a half to 2 months until we truly evaluate what we really think about these teams moving forward. And of course, the trade deadline is going to come in, and that's all going to go to hell. But nonetheless, you know, I think number one, this is what Major League Baseball wanted, right? They wanted shorter games and they wanted more scoring. And so I think, Dan, and this is a discussion I had with Buster Olney. This is a discussion I had with Jeff Passan prior to the season starting, and both of them felt that the overs heavy based on, you know, like Major League Baseball wants these guys to steal more bases. They've taken off 6 inches between, you know, first and second and third, and they're limiting the amount of times that the pitcher could try to, you know, catch them off base,
throw over.
So, right. So there's just so many rule changes now that baseball wants this to happen. So yeah, I think you're onto something. I think you should continue to do it because I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. If anything, I think you know, it's going to only increase as guys get better.
It's sort of like a dubious task to try to figure out, like, oh, well, what is the average total posted last year, right? Like, there are so many sports books. It's like impossible to figure that out. But also, you know, who's pitching? Where are they pitching? What is the weather like? Who are they pitching to? Who's in the game? Who's not in the game? Like, who's struggling? Who's hot? Like, it's just really kind of hard to handicap. So this is just an intuition thing. Just watching a lot of baseball the last week, it just feels like there are more runs scored, and the statistics through 130 shared games across the league tend to back that up. But I am very interested to see sort of where this leads. Score update: the Yankees are up 2-0 on the Phillies, and if you're watching, I just bought them at $12.50 per share, plus 686. To come back and win the game. Now, I have zero confidence they're going to do that. And by the way, it's 2:48. We're already in the top of the 7th. This game is just motoring. So, hey, hat tip to Theo Epstein and the new rules. Rays minus 1.5, up 43.50. Nothing good happens after 90, Anita. So once that comes back, we dipped a little bit. Once we get over 90, I like to sell. It's kind of like being up in your whatevers past 2 in the morning. Once bar closes at 2, go home. There ain't nothing waiting for you on the other side, but bad stuff. So you just sell out.
So a few things for me. It's around 80. I'm up to like 80, 82, 85.
Okay.
I sell.
Okay.
So for me, it's like it's somewhere around the 80s. And by the way, you guys should make it. That should be a shirt.
That should be a t-shirt. We have to talk to your shirt company.
Nothing happens. What is it? Nothing happens.
Nothing good happens after 90. That's David Huffman, our COO. Yeah.
That's what you need to do. That needs to be a t-shirt, Dan.
We got to talk to your company. Nothing good happens after 90. So right now, we're at 90.5. Rays minus 1.5. So we're going to sell right out of that. There we go. Shout out to David Huffman, our COO, who coined that phrase. Bought the Phillies here. They're down 2-0. $12.50 per share. We'll see what happens there. Speaking of my Phillies, we're talking about the MLBI, right? The MLB index. The Phillies are the 3rd worst ROI, probably not very surprising. But here are the teams that the public is actually bearish on, Anita. The Twins, who I bought earlier today, wherever that went, are up $16.50 right now against the Miami Marlins, whose offense is completely dreadful. The Twins are 25th in volume on SportTrade and 3rd overall in ROI at 43.3%. And of course, for whatever reason, this always seems to happen, right? The Rays have always been good. They're always scrappy. They always have great young talent. Wander Franco is hitting like 600 legitimately. 22nd in volume, 2nd highest ROI, over 50%, 52.77. So no one is paying attention to the Twins. No one's paying attention to the Tampa Bay Rays, and they're crushing it.
What about the Baltimore Orioles? That was a team that I was hot on as well coming in.
The Orioles it's a great call. The Orioles are actually 5th in season-long ROI. They are over 32% on the ROI for the season, and their daily, which is just tracking, how they did yesterday, up 29% as well. If you had taken them every single day, Anita, one share every single day, you'd be up $72.76 if you just bought them every day. Which, great baseball strategy, right? Like the Dodgers win 100 games a year, right? Treat it more like a stock, a blue chip stock, as opposed to something else. You're going to make money. Same with the Yankees, who, by the way, 30 consecutive winning seasons for the Yankees. 30 consecutive winning seasons for the New York Yankees.
Money making money, Dan. Money making money, boo.
So I looked this up. The Philadelphia Phillies have 30 winning seasons total since 1952. That just tells you anything about maybe the ineptitude of the Phillies, but also just how ridiculous the Yankees have been. Okay, we've got the Masters coming up, but we don't have a ton of time. So, Anita, I want to make sure we're getting your Masters picks. I know you've got a couple you want to run through. I was on your show on ESPN New York over the weekend, so I gave you my pick. I'd love for you to reciprocate. What are you looking at Augusta this week?
Yeah, so a few things. Number one, like I said, the weather now has become a really important storyline here. And what am I talking about? Those that tee off on Thursday morning are going to be teeing off on Friday afternoon. And some of the biggest names that a lot of people have winning are going to be in that Friday afternoon tee time and are going to get expected the worst weather conditions, right? So Friday, it's supposed to be drizzling in the morning, and then in the afternoon, it's supposed to be torrential downpour. Here's the thing, I've tried to analyze and assess weather before, but it turns around and it bites me in my butt. Why? Because it's Mother Nature, and you never know. So Dan, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, let's say it's not just torrential downpour. Let's say it's thunderstorms, and so what they do is they shut it down. That we're supposed to that tee off in the afternoon. Now they're not going to tee off until Saturday morning. Okay, it's not going to be torrential downpour. Maybe it'll be drizzling again, but you know what? The conditions are going to be softer, and it's going to play to their favor. So, I'm just not going to read too much into it because again, I've gotten burned before. It's such a toss-up. So with that being said, a lot of these guys that I'm going to be throwing your way are the guys that are going to be teeing off on Thursday morning and afternoon. But I'm just hoping that Mother Nature doesn't wreak havoc on them. Justin Thomas, I like him to win at 20-1. I'll play him always. Top 5, top 10, top 20, top 30, top 40, and to win. 7 cuts in a row he's made here. He's bringing his A game. Riviera and Kapalua, he played great, and he leads the tour in strokes gained around the green this season. So
now, let me tell you about Justin Thomas. You said 20-1 on Sport Trade. He's 23.52. So make sure you're grabbing that value.
There you go. Schauffele, I like him to finish somewhere in the top 5, top 10. Don't forget, he only finished second to Tiger that magnificent year that Tiger went back in 2019 and tried to chase down Decky a few years ago, just couldn't do it. Here's the really big key. He leads the tour in proximity from 150 to 175 out, and 8th from 175 and 200. And I'm sure, Dan, you've heard, so hole number 13, the Azalea hole, they've extended now 35 yards. A lot of people feel that the Masters is won or lost on that hole for guys who can grip it and rip it, and then they've got that magnificent second shot that hopefully they land on the green. Schauffele's one of those guys who can do it. And so now that 13th hole is going to play into his favor more than most. So a big reason why I like Schauffele. Decky as well, again, to finish in the top 10, top 20. As we know, he's won here before. And he's really showing signs that he's getting his game back on point. He's got 5 top 10s, and again, really good form at Riviera and Kapalua, 2 tournaments that I look at in regard to the analysis. Guys who play well there typically play well at Augusta. Some other guys I like, Sungjae Im, who, if you want to consider the weather conditions, Sungjae Im is one of the best guys on tour that plays well in bad weather conditions. Whether it's rain, whether it's wind, he does play well. Siwoo Kim to finish in the top 20 as well. And a real deep sleeper is Danny Willett. I like Danny Willett. He's won here before. He's made 5 straight cuts, tied for 18th at the Genesis, tied for 12 here last year. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Danny Willett. What is he to win the tournament? Like $1? Is he even $1 on Sports Trade, Dan? So
I'll back up. Sungjae Im plus 5,346. As you were speaking, I did buy some Matsuyama plus 5,060. Willett, a great bourbon, not so hot on the golfer, but let's see. I gotta find him. Danny Willett, where are you at? 50 cents plus 20,000.
Not even $1.
Oh, hold on. We've got action. The Philadelphia Phillies have loaded the bases and brought in a run. So here we go. We bought a couple shares earlier. It's now 2-1. We're up $20. Let's go. Up $20 on that trade right now. 2 outs in the top of the 7th. Garrett Cole Get out of here. They've gone to the bullpen, and the Phillies have now cut the deficit in half. Let's go, Phils. World Series again. Here we come. Maybe. Okay, Anita, you've got some NBA plays tonight as well, I believe, and then we'll do our Anita Marks victory lap for the Yukon Huskies.
Oh gosh. Okay. In regard to some NBA plays tonight, I love the Kings tonight going up against the Mavs. They've won 5 of their last 7, and they beat the Pelicans last night, 121-103. They're shooting 50%, and they're 35-16-1 against the spread on the road. So I do like the Kings against this Mavs team. They've lost 7 of their last 8. They're just a complete mess, and this is the second of a back-to-back. So give me the Kings. What are they trading at?
Sorry, I was just selling out of the Phillies. The Kings.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
sorry.
okay.
I thought we were doing a show here, Dan. I don't want to interrupt you making money this afternoon.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's really what matters. The Kings are at 31. The Mavericks are at 71.5. I mean, how many people have to be out for the Kings to be $31 against the Mavericks, who are sitting everyone who suck? Am I just like missing out on something?
Possibly. I like this Kings team tonight.
Yeah. I mean, how can you not? Hold on.
Give me the Pelicans tonight as well, -5.5. They're 7-2 their last 9 games. They've got extra motivation tonight. This has to feel like a Game 7 intensity because they're 1.5 games back to the Warriors, but they're only a half a game up on the T-Wolves. Nobody wants to play in that play-in game. The Grizzlies, they pretty much have secured that second seed. And here's the thing: they're 2 back. They're 2 back to first seed with 3 games to play. So the probability and the chances of you getting the 1 seed, as opposed to let's rest our players and try to avoid injury and let's tight with the 2 seed, I think is pretty solid. Also, they're 1-6 against the spread in New Orleans. So I like the Pelicans. What are the Pelicans trading at?
I want to round back to the Kings in 2 seconds, but we'll look at the Pellies. Pelicans and Grizzlies looks like some volatility. I'll have to fill you in a little later. So the Kings played last night, a game that they won in New Orleans, 121-103. Short flight to Dallas for an 8:30 game, a game in which the Mavericks are not playing Kyrie Irving or Luka Doncic. If you care about like ESPN analytics, which I know you do, Dallas a 51.1% chance to win. Sacramento a 48.9% chance to win. The Kings have no injuries. They're 48-31, not expected to sit anybody. Why are they 30.5 plus 223? I'm racking my brain.
I'm not questioning the gift horse in the mouth, Dan. You can.
No, I know. I'm just making sure I'm not missing something, because literally as soon as the show is over, I'm gonna have to go make this bet. This is okay. I'm looking at some of our friends at Odds Jam, and the price comparison here. I mean, unsurprisingly, we have one of the best prices in the market. I must be missing something. I don't know what it is. Now, I'm almost like concerned now that I'm missing something, because I can't believe this number is what it is. Now I'm like scaring myself out from taking it. Wow. All right, I'm going to
I only have about 1 minute, a few minutes left in the show. So really quick, I just want to give you also my last play is the Clippers. I like the Clippers battle in LA, the Lakers overtime win against the Jazz. Anthony Davis played 42 minutes. LeBron played 38. I highly doubt either of them play. And Kawhi Leonard shoots 60% against the Lakers. As we know, this will be a revenge game for Westbrook. So I do like the Clippers, and I'll lay the 3.5.
Love the revenge game.
Sports Trade.
Love the revenge game. Yep. Anita Marks, thank you so much as always. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to UConn for making you a ton of money. We appreciate it as always. Again, we'll see you next week.